Hello everyone, what's up? It's me again, Junkmaster 3. And like I told you in my previous top 10 list, this is going to be another top 10 list of my favorite women in prison films. And I mean, most of those films in general, they have a very similar type of tone to them, but these are the ones that I enjoy the most, or I thought were the most entertaining ones. So yeah, let's begin right away. First up, we have this is actually a box set which has Chained Heat on it, but the film in this box set is Red Heat, not to be confused with the Schwarzenegger film from the same era. This is the Women in Prison film with Linda Blair, and yeah, I think maybe that's the reason why I like it so much. I mean, I think it is a little tame in comparison to some of the other ones because usually it's like uh, the most common ingredients for women in prison films are like sleaze, action, fights, gunfights, escape, like prison escapes. That's what you really want in a women in prison film. And I think the whole escape bit in Red Heat is a little bit weird and sketchy and doesn't make a whole lot of sense. I would also say the same thing with the whole sentencing in the beginning when she gets sentenced to prison. I thought that was really strange and very weirdly executed. But other than that, I think Red Heat is really entertaining, like women in prison films. So yeah, Red Heat at number 10. Now let's see here. At number 9, we have a film with an actress that we're gonna see in very, very many films in this top 10 list. But yeah, the film is called Black Mama, White Mama. And this is with, of course, Pam Grier, who appeared in loads and loads of these films back in the 70s. And she is, I mean, you can totally see that she was really born to play these characters, and especially like because she's a great actress, and I totally understand why Quentin Tarantino picked her for the title role of Jackie Brown. Um, was it Jackie Brown? Yeah, I think you know what movie I'm referring to. But anyway, Black Mama, White Mama, a great one. I think this is another one of those Filipino. Apparently, this was written by Jonathan Demme, who is probably most famous for directing The Silence of the Lambs. He actually worked with a whole lot of women in prison films back in the day, apparently. And this one also has Sid Haig in it, and Sid Haig has been in some of those films as well, and he's always a pleasure to watch. He's a great actor as well. Rest in peace. Um, yeah, this is directed by Eddie Romero, who I think has made loads of women in prison and like Filipino films in general. I think this is actually a Filipino director, I believe. But yeah, I think this is one really entertaining one. So yeah, Black Mama, White Mama at number 9. Yeah. Then we have another one of those Filipino ones, but I think this is directed by Jack Hill, and the film is The Big Dollhouse, which also has Pam Grier and Sid Haig in it. Um, if I remember correctly, this has very many similarities with The Big Birdcage, which came out I think 1 year after or before this one. The reason why I prefer the other one over this one is because this one had a whole lot of like comedy that I thought was funny to begin with, but after a while it sort of got a little bit tiresome. Um, it was like Sid Haig and another actor. I can't remember his sidekick character. I mean, they were cracking jokes all over the place, and I think this one really lacked the action. Even though I think the movie itself is really entertaining, I think the end, like the final or like finale of the film, like the gunfights and stuff, that was really cool and really entertaining to watch. So yeah, The Big Dollhouse. This one also has Roberta Collins in it. Roberta Collins was another actress that appeared in loads of these films back in the day as well. So yeah, Big Dollhouse, really good. Then we have at number 7 a film that I saw fairly recently. If you think the title on this Blu-ray looks a little bit sketchy, it's because it's a German release. But the film is called Women in Cages. Um, I really like this cover art. I just don't care for the German title of the film and the whole like 18 logo. Sometimes you can flip the front cover and to have like the original cover art, and sometimes you can't have that. So, um, but yeah, this time around, Pam Grier actually plays the main, not warden. I think she's supposed to be the warden or like the chief of this prison. Um, and once again, Roberta Collins in this one, she plays like a heroin addict who wants her fix, and people are like smuggling in drugs in there just so she can have that. So she's very unstable in general. Uh, But I was surprised of how, I'm not going to spoil it or anything, but I was surprised of how, what a weird ending this one had. I'm not going to spoil it, but it just felt very strange. And it kind of like incomplete in a way. But yeah, this one had have all the ingredients that you want in a film like this. I would say it's just slightly better than Big Dollhouse because I thought some of the locations were really cool and the acting I thought was a little bit better. Yeah, Women in Cages at number 7. And then we have one which is directed by Tom DeSimone, who I think he directed at least 3 or 4 of those films, and I think all of those are one of the best women in prison films out there. But this one is his film called The Concrete Jungle. Now this one has the actress who, the main actress in this, I think her character gets framed for like drug possession or something. Like I think her boyfriend like smuggling drugs through her skis or something. I think they were gonna go on a skiing trip or something, and he's smuggling drugs there, and she gets caught. And or is this the one? I think this is the one. Yeah, can be totally wrong about that, but yeah, I really enjoy this one as well. If you want like American produced women in prison films, go check out Tom DeSimone's women in prison films, because I think, like I said, those are some of the best ones out there. And the bad guys in this one as well they are very like memorable as well. So yeah, The Concrete Jungle. Yeah, at number 6. Speaking of Tom DeSimone, the next one is also directed by him, and it's the film Reform Schoolgirls. I think this is a little bit funny because I probably should have flipped the cover up, because I prefer the other cover up, which is like the original cover art. But this cover art is really strange because it has Linnea Quigley on the front cover, and she's not even in the film. I think that's really misleading. But this one is most memorable probably because of Wendy O. Williams, who plays the main baddie in this one, and Pat Ass, who plays the not the warden, but the one of the leading ladies for this facility. And she's very memorable because some of her dialogue and some of her acting is just way over the top, and that's what's make it so entertaining. And that's what I wanted to say. The main the warden of this prison is played by Sybil Danning as well, so that's also a plus. So pretty damn entertaining cast to begin with in general. So I think there's also like at least 1 or 2 actresses from the Friday the 13th films in this one. The girl from Friday 5, which is like this. I can't remember her name in part 5, but she's the one that gets killed in the radio, like listens to music and stuff. And the other one is the one that is getting killed in part 6 in the car, if you get what I mean. You just completely blacked out there, but sorry. Anyway, Reform Schoolgirls, this is really good. There's one sequence in this that just makes me really mad, and it involves a cat, and I don't like that. Whenever it's like humans, I can take anything, but when it comes to animals, I'm a little bit squeamish. But Reform Schoolgirls, really good women in prison film. And then at number 4 we have Sweet Sugar, and this is another one of those. I'm not sure if this was shot in the Philippines or it was just directed by an American guy or something, but this one I remember mostly because of the locations. And usually when you watch a women in prison films, jungle areas are really great settings for women in prison films, because usually you want that escape towards the end when the prisoners escape throughout the jungle and has to fight back the prison guards and whatnot. This one had really awesome gruesome scenes in it as well. Yeah, I don't really know what else to say. I mean, it seems like I'm repeating myself over and over again, but these films are very like similar to one another. But yeah, Sweet Sugar at number 4. And at number 3 we have, like I mentioned before, The Big Birdcage. This one is just if anyone asks me about what is the definition of a women in prison film, this is probably the one that I'm gonna mention to them. Yeah, this is such a great film. I mean, I've watched this numerous of times before, and I think the cast is amazing. It's Pam Grier again, and you have Sid Haig. I think the opening, like, is this the one with Sid Haig? Is Sid Haig even in this film? Yes, he is. For some reason, he's not even credited on this DVD, which is I think is very strange. But I think this is another one directed by Jack Hill. But I think this one has almost everything is the definition of a women in prison film. I think, like I mentioned before, I'm just slightly tapped on it a little bit, but the opening sequence, or like the whole build up to the prison like sentencing, or like when they get thrown into prison, and Pam Grier's character, I think her character is very complex and very modeled in this one, because from the get-go it seems like she's a bad guy, and then all of a sudden it seems like she's a good guy, or like an ally to these ladies that are like in prison. So yeah, it's a little bit strange in that regard, but overall this is a really entertaining women in prison film, and like most of those, they take place in the Philippines, and it's always a win-win situation for me. So yeah, The Big Birdcage at number 3. And then at number 2 we have this is actually a 4-pack along with other films, but The Naked Cage. Now this one I believe is the one when she gets the leading girl gets sentenced to prison because her boyfriend that was like cheating on her, and just before he gets killed, he like has like a conversation with her, and just because of that she gets involved in this bank robbery type deal, because the ex-boyfriend of the character, he's like hanging around with another lady, and they're making like a robbery, and just because she is at the same place at the scene basically, and just wants him to get out of there, she is involved in this whole situation. So she also gets sentenced to prison because I think her boyfriend dies pretty early on, and also his love interest in the car. So it's very like cliche for a film like this, but I think this is another one which is really entertaining. And I think the one of the lead bad guys in this, she is really amazing. I can't remember her role, like her name or anything, but yeah, the bad guys in this they were really memorable in general. So, and I think this is another one that might have been directed by Tom DeSimo. No, this is directed by Paul Nicholas, Paul Nicholas, who directed my number 1 women in prison film that I'm going to talk about just in a second. So yeah, Naked Cage at number 2. So at number 1 we have, I mean, this is a little bit stupid to put this out again because it's a box set, but the film I'm referring to is Chained Heat, and this is another one with Linda Blair, and Sybil Danning plays one of the baddies in this one. This is like a film that I can rewatch over and over again. It's so 80s, and I love the soundtrack, I love the characters, and the whole prison ride towards the end. I'm not going to spoil what's going to happen, but it is really memorable and really cool. And with a cast like that, it's just amazing. And this one also has Tamara Dobson, who I think is most famous for what's that called? Dynamite Jackson, or Jackson. What's it called? I think you probably know what movie I'm referring to. I'm just completely blacked out here right now. But yeah, Chained Heat at number 1. Just to point out though, I have these films in another box set as well. The reason why I pulled this out was because this was the closest to me. If you want to get these films, because in this box set the movies included are Chained Heat, Red Heat, and Jungle Warriors. This is released under another label, which I also have. I think it's a Region 1 release, which I would say you should definitely pick up instead, because this particular release is butchered to hell. It is cut to pieces, and it's just censored, and it is not really the best way to watch these films. So anyway, Chained Heat at number 1. Really amazing women in prison film. I love that film. So yeah, now I've been mumbling for almost 15 minutes right now, so I'm gonna end it at that. So that's my top 10 women in prison films that I've watched. Are there any other like women in prison films that I maybe have missed out on? Please let me know. I watched a really terrible one, which was called Bear Behind Bars not too long ago, and that was just atrocious. That was just like almost like a hardcore porno, to be honest. It just sleaze every single sequence, and that just took away all of the sexiness of the film, if you get what I mean. So yeah, stay away from that one, and watch any of the other ones that I've mentioned in this list instead, if you want a really entertaining women in prison film. So yeah. So that's it for the video. We'll see what next video is going to be. Maybe another review video. I haven't made a review video in quite a while. So that's probably going to be the next video for myself on this channel. And then also probably the top 5 of the month is going to come up soon. The top 5 of the month for the month of September. And then of course we have October, which is going to be the horror-thon, where when I only watch horror films, and I'm going to go through watch some weird asshole outside. Never mind. That's just what I wanted to say in general. Yeah, keep your eyes open for next video, and see you next time. Bye bye.